So I've spent 50 of these heat stamps, I believe, was what that resource was. Let me verify. Yes. So we now are taking an amount of time to research that. Sawmills. Just out of curiosity, I'll just look through the rest of the options. How do we increase our materials production from wood? Foragers say untreated wood sawmill. Massive sawmills in which frozen wood is cut into usable materials without undergoing any treatment, speeding up the process but exposing people to mold, spores, and fungi. Ugh. Disease is slightly increased again. Versus the machinists want mechanized sawmills. Requires, massive sawmills loading frozen wood directly into mulching machines that separate usable material from waste byproducts. Again, they increase squalor significantly. So it looks like foragers are going to keep increasing disease by a little bit versus the machinists increasing squalor significantly. What else do we have? I can't look at that. Hothouses. That's for food. Bio-waste drum hothouse. Industrial-sized hothouses where organic waste ferments in large vats, fertilizing, a result being shelves of crops. Disease is slightly increased again versus the machinists. Chemical drum hothouse. Industrial-sized hothouses where chemical nutrients are injected into tubs of crops to accelerate their growth. Squalor is increased. Yeah. They seem to just always be doing the same things, increasing disease versus increasing squalor. We have two other tabs here. Economy. That is neat because I didn't see it earlier. Housing block. Requires an expanded housing district. Residential tower design to provide shelter to a large number of citizens in a limited amount of space. 5 shelter, 5 heat. Versus you guys, 5 shelter and 5 heat. 100 workforce. It looks like that is completely the same. Just who you're leaning on to get the same result in your research. Anything else? Rail hub, which we can't see as part of this preview. And why are these red as opposed to white? Again, I don't know. Lastly, society. We have hospitals. Are you guys the same? You are also the same. Just who are we leaning on with this research? Watchtowers? Again, the same. Also, it's a shame that the images are the same for all of these. I'm assuming in the final game that won't be the case. Because that was one of the things that was great about Frostpunk 1, is we had different images for every technology. Oh, and that reflection in the ice is cool. I approve. Yes, but you guys keep working on the coal mines. Crime is stable, but it is a minor problem. So it would be good to get more goods. Oh, did I have more communities? The people of your city form communities. Groups of people united by a common outlook or background. You can view any of your communities by clicking on their image in the bottom center of the screen. Right now we only have 2. The full game will have more. Under the community name, you can find information regarding your relations with a specific community. Your relations with each community will impact your overall trust. Under the community description is a list of actions you can perform with that community. Those actions can greatly improve your city situation, but they can also change relations with that community for better or for worse. Okay. Request funds. Relations worsen significantly, but it gives me some heat stamps. Or I can fund them, which is just the opposite. Same thing with you guys. Can I tell the progress of my research anywhere? Like, is there a bar? Yes, that's filling up. Perfect. So we are neutral. I was hoping to see that that shows something, but currently we're just unchanged. Alright, so we're just waiting on our coal mine research. 19 sick people have recovered and returned to work in the city. Do we have any absentees that I can see? I don't think so. Minus 20C, so we're at the base heating that we had in Frostpunk 1. At day 70, we are going to get a cold drop, it looks like. Population is increasing. Is it? Progress 36%. Was that towards my long-term goal? Because I don't remember what my long-term goal was anymore. Alright, we're almost done. Okay. Trust. First, we will go here and build a dust coal mine, which I can't do because this needs to expand. Urgh. Trust. Trust is located below the tension meter at the bottom of the screen. The tension meter. I'm guessing that's the ball. Trust shows how much confidence people have in you as steward of the city and in your decision making. It mainly consists of your relations with all communities and factions. However, your decisions and actions can also influence your overall trust. Be careful. If your trust runs out and you become despised among your people, the populace might want to depose you and strip you of the steward position. You can improve your overall trust by increasing your relations with communities and factions. This can be done by using various community actions in the corresponding community panel. Try clicking the community portraits at the bottom of the screen to see what you can do for them. Otherwise, trust can be increased by signing certain laws or fulfilling promises made in negotiations. Simple enough. Marginally increased Forger's opinion. Can't really see a number on trust, sadly. Well, let's do research. I don't know if there is something I really need to do at the moment. But I could grab advanced coal mines. Interesting. So this was one of the hidden technologies before that just looked like a coal symbol. Now that we got this one, it spread the fog on the map, I guess. So I can now see it. But would I want to go deeper into coal, or should I look into other things? At the moment, I don't know what dangers we have. We used to have a giant stockpile of food, and we don't anymore. But it says demand and output are the same, which I think means it's lying. Because, yeah, we used to be over the 30,000, and now our stockpile is going down. What we really need is more goods, but I don't know where those get made. Central District. Central District is theoretically... Nope. Let me click on it. There we go. Doesn't show that it's making goods, but goods is the thing I need right now, but I don't think any of these technologies seem to be helping me get that. At least based on the symbols. Oh, over here we would have something. What about in our other categories? No, and society. No. Though there is something to be said about getting hospitals before the cold hits. But I think, as is my usual, building up the economy is gonna be a thing we want to do. Basically, in any sort of game like this, building up the economy first is key. This just adds more housing space, which I don't know how critical that is. Let's get our sawmill. Or do I want food? Food, because it's going down even though it claims it's not. And I again think going with disease is better than squalor, because disease feels like it'd be easy to fix with the hospital. How early into the playthrough? I am pretty early, I would say. Still going through the tutorials. I don't know if the whole thing is tutorials. But, yeah. Did I choose the correct team for that? Hothouses. Yes. I wanted to go with the foragers. Good. So, I don't know if you're familiar with Frostpunk 2, since it just came out today, but we are trying to set up our coal at the moment, which I'm assuming is still pretty early on in the scenario. They say you can go 300 weeks, was it? And I'm at 34. So I've got plenty of time to go. There we go. Let's build our dust coal mine. There. Place to settle differences. With the new mine, we have enough coal output to last us a while. Yet differences between communities remain. Even under the previous leader, plans have existed to establish a council to settle such differences. More pressing problems always delayed them. The time has come, steward. The people want to say in how the city is run. Then we need a council. Build the council district. A council hall in the central district. Enact a new law through a successful vote in the council. Okay. Council hall. Haven't been able to find anyone who is below 200 weeks, so I'd say you're early. Good. I got to it slightly late, I think. Wasn't watching the time of exactly when the game would be available, and I had to install it and all that. I wasn't even planning on streaming today, but some other plans fell through, and so I figured, sounds good, might as well play it. Alright, the council gathers for the first time. We can vote on new laws. It's interesting, Frostpunk 1, obviously you just sign whatever laws you want and then deal with the consequences of people's anger. But now we have to appease them, it sounds like, and work with the council. We can't just choose what we want. People cheers, the gates of the council open. It feels like a piece of the world lost to the frost has been regained. The people are hopeful to have their voices heard, while the machinists and foragers clash about our survival strategy. Neither has a firm stance on economic or social issues. However, many in their ranks do, though they keep to the shadows for now. To pass any law in the council, you will need the majority of delegates to support it. Okay, cool view. I was expecting just an image, but they've got a 3D moving thing where you can see people moving around. I hope that's more common than just the images we saw in Frostpunk 1. We've gone from dictator to chancellor. Can't wait to find out if I can Palpatine my way back into absolute power. True. I'm certain there are ways that you can go back to being a dictator. Yeah, it seems likely. People of the city sent 100 delegates to represent them. Your role as steward is to propose laws that will be put to a vote. However, communities have different outlook on many things. You may have to negotiate or pressure them to get enough support. It's the pressure that I'm thinking is where we get to the Palpatine stage, when you can reach a point where you can successfully pressure people to always do what you want. I see. So we've got survival. Oh, should have read them first. Survival, economy, and society. I think those are the same 3 tabs we have for tech. Food additives, no common rules. There's no established standard for which additives can be put into the food in times of need. Food output per capita is slightly increased. Chemical additives, food production efficiency is slightly increased. Decrease in marginally increased. Food output versus food production efficiency. I don't know what the difference there is. Goods. We need more goods. That's currently still an issue. Goods production efficiency is significantly increased, or goods demand per capita is marginally decreased. I would think creating more goods is better than slightly decreasing how much people want goods. And then we don't have anything in any of these. Nebulous, unformed idea can become apparent through research or event. So if we get deeper in the research tree, or possibly with events, we will have options for some of these. So currently I'm thinking goods, but let's see these other trees. Economy. Welfare. Basic necessities are customarily provided without compensation, but practices can differ from place to place. Heat stamp income per capita is increased. Resource production efficiency is slightly increased, or trust will rise. Contagion prevention, disease is decreased, tension is slightly increased, versus disease is significantly decreased, and shelter available per capita is slightly decreased. Okay, quarantine versus infection badge. Yikes. Giving people a badge that they have to wear if they're diseased. Versus quarantine, we know how much people enjoy that. Citizenship. Allows productive outsiders. Population growth is marginally increased. Heat stamp income per capita is marginally increased. Versus accept all outsiders. Population growth is increased, not just marginally. Community service. We have 4 different options on this one. Wow. So it's not just the... I was thinking it was going to be the 2 different communities had their own options, but no. These are actually just different ideas. And we don't know necessarily which side the different communities are aiming towards. Exploration time is decreased. Materials for expedition support, city development effort, material output per capita is increased. We don't know what materials output is used for yet. Service exemptions, heat stamp income per capita is slightly increased. And then heat pipe watch, heat demand is slightly decreased. Interesting. And lastly, society. Funerals, which hopefully we don't need anytime soon. Ceremonial funerals, trust loss resulting from deaths is decreased, versus harvesting funerals, disease is slightly decreased. Research speed is slightly increased. Yeah. If we had the discontent and hope, that would not make people happy. Childhood. Family apprenticeship. Percentage of active workers is slightly increased by having children working, versus mandatory school. Research speeds is slightly increased. Heat stamps income per capita is slightly decreased because we're building a school and funding it. That's basically the child labor versus the what was the tech called when we're like research apprentices? Yeah, engineering apprentices. Cool. Well, at the moment I'm thinking goods is what I want to deal with. People are divided, people are divided. I would want this one. Goods efficiency being slightly increased. We don't know who wants this versus who doesn't. Unless that's what this is showing, is that 37 people wanted and 26 people are predicted against it. Machinists want that, forgers want this. Of course. Because mass producing things is a machinist thing versus just trying to get by with less need on goods would be the forgers. So far I've been leaning on the forgers, but this one just feels way better. So I guess we'll lean on machinists here. Let's propose this law. Currently, we are in the lead of 37 for versus 26 against, so it will probably pass. Mass-produced goods. In order to overcome scarcity, we will organize our production lines to increase good production. Yeah. 37 are hesitant that we don't know where they're going to vote. Pressure delegates. Pressure the hesitant delegates, which will sway them towards supporting the law. The more trusted you are, the more effective it will be. Hesitant delegates will be more likely to vote for the law. Relations with all communities will worsen. But if you're trusted enough, then you can pressure better. So then you're not Palpatine. Because Palpatine wasn't exactly trusted, he was feared. And if you are very low trust, barely tolerated, you'll have very little power with pressuring, which, yeah, interesting. You can click on individual council members? Whoa. No. I'm just clicking on groups. So foragers. Foragers, neutral, 51% of the city. As the frost covered the earth, these people and their ancestors were caught beyond the safety of the generator cities. Forced to adapt to the harsh conditions of the frostlands, they learned to survive against all odds. At times, foragers decide to settle in the cities once again. However, the ordeal of surviving the frost has developed a lasting mark. They believe adaptation is key. Growing reliant on technological gimmicks invites disaster. Machines tend to break down as soon as conditions deteriorate. Human spirit is a lot more enduring. I can get that. Versus machinists. These people are descendants of the groups that built the initial cities and maintained their machinery. They faced the Great Frost, huddled around the generator, and believe this technological marvel is why they are alive at all today. This belief shapes them. When there's a problem, they would seek a way to solve it through automation, by devising machines to do the work or exploit available resources to ensure good safety margins. To them, technological progress is the only way to ensure survival, and maybe even prosperity. I totally get that. Yes. So we are just going to negotiate. What does negotiate do? Let's look at this. We've got another tutorial, and I want to read that before I click any buttons. The council is where delegates vote for laws. Laws can greatly impact the city and affect its Zeitgeist. I don't know that word, but it definitely doesn't seem like an English word. You can propose laws, but they have to be voted in by the majority to take effect. Communities and factions will fight for or against different laws depending on their views. You can find information about their views in the corresponding community panel. There are a few different methods to affect how delegates vote for a specific law in the council. You can utilize these methods after proposing a law. Okay, that's basically what we had already figured out. I'm curious what negotiate will do. I don't want to pressure. I'm tolerated, but people don't really like me. Negotiate. Foragers are open to negotiate. They're mostly against. Versus machinists are partially open to negotiate, but they're already mostly for. And we got another tutorial. Negotiations. Not all laws you propose will have widespread support. You can negotiate to have a better chance of a vote passing. After choosing a group to negotiate with, you can choose what to promise them in exchange for voting along with your proposal. That includes actions such as enacting a law they desire, building or destroying a special building, or using an action towards a particular community or faction. Making a promise in negotiations will make all hesitant delegates in chosen community vote for the proposed law. Additionally, some delegates who are against the law will also switch sides. The same logic applies if you want them to vote against the law. Factions are more monolithic and will not engage in negotiations about laws that are against their worldview. Alright, let's try it. Foragers, let's negotiate. You guys aren't... It thinks I have more on my side, but there are more foragers than machinists, so I don't know. Alright. Vote for. Or vote against. I want you guys to vote for this law. for them to do that, they want me to either fund projects beneficial to their community. The larger the population, the more heat stamps required to fund them. And it will also improve relations with them. Or economy, community service, and act, policy, expedition, support. Everyone must aid expeditions by helping them prepare for their journeys. So that is another law, I think, that we would be trying to enact. This is a step towards adaptation. Interesting. Not sure what that means. Zeitgeist is a public consciousness, more or less. Okay. Not a word I've come across, or at least I don't think so. Or worker shifts policy. Weather-adjusted shifts. To protect worker health, workplaces must adapt to working hours to the weather conditions. Heat demand is slightly increased. Disease is slightly increased. Resource production efficiency slightly decreased. That sounds terrible. I'm okay with this, and I'm fairly okay with this one. Because I haven't really seen what I need heat stamps for. Much, so spending them there doesn't seem that much of a problem, but this seems like a fine proposal to enact anyway. So, might as well. I will promise expedition support policy. Okay, we now have 75-4, which is more than the 50 we need to succeed, so we will win. Such a cool graphic. Let's vote. Mass-produced goods, 75-4 out of the 51 required. 84. Law passed. I see. Into the future. The new law has been agreed on. Good. There are challenges ahead. Improving coal extraction is a success, but the vein will only last so long. We need to explore the Frostlands for a permanent source of fuel. That's the first step in our colonization effort. If we don't take it, the city will have no future at all. This concludes the onboarding tasks in this preview. Remember, you can always consult the tutorial. The city must not fall. Oh dear, they have... Okay, they haven't just let me loose. Good. I was worried they're like, okay, tutorial's over. Good luck. Build logistics district in place of one of the old way stations on the city's outskirts. Find a permanent source of fuel outside the city. Establish... Whoa. That is cool. Am I looking at a random forager and their thoughts? For reasons I don't understand? Okay. Establish a food colony, establish a fuel colony, establish a materials colony, explore most Frostland territories, and promise to foragers pass the expedition support in 39 weeks. This was our ambition that we chose at the start, was colonize the Frostlands. It was the only one available, but that's what's going on here. So we are led on our own. This is just pointing us in the direction of getting to that ambition. So that's the old way station. Or are there multiple old way stations? There are multiple old way stations. And iron ore. I should probably get out there. Do I need to frost break to get all the way out there? I don't actually know how exploration works. Like, how do I send out explorers? Shallow coal deposit. I guess that's the question. There was a time where we saw... There we go. Where we could see all these resources. So we'd want to get out to more coal. Presumably. What are you? Oh, just another old way station. Maybe the old way stations is how we get to scouting, because it looks like those are tunnels that lead away, maybe, and it is logistics. I could buy that. So which one seems the closest? Or at least heading in a direction of other things I need to get to. You're kind of off by yourself. We have other resources over here that makes that one. Ooh, and a bunch of stuff over here. So do I want materials? Or materials? Okay. Probably head up this way. But we've got another tutorial. Frostland introduction. Okay, cool. You need to reach beyond your city to not only survive, but to thrive. The logistics district opens up access to the Frostland. That's what I thought. By exploring and exploiting the world outside the city, you can provide your people with nearly everything they need. You can switch between the Frostland and the city by clicking the button in the top right corner. No button in the top right corner. Just tossing it out there. But might need to get out here first. Alright. Well, I'm going to go through these resources on my way out there. Just because I can. So let's get some frost breaking going. There was also iron deposit somewhere. Was that you? Iron ore is still just resources. Okay. So we've got a bunch of frozen forests, but they're not counting iron as a separate resource. It's just material. So whether we're dealing with wood or iron, it's just resources. If I wanted to get out here, more coal I could, but that would be a while. Steward promised something and it's gone now. How soon can I pass another law? It's gonna be a while. But I'm guessing... Can't even... Yes, I can. If we go to... Here, community service. This is what I promised. That's what they were talking about. The policy to give expedition support. Brilliant.